Good morning, y'all. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It's the weekend. This probably won't be uploaded till Saturday, tomorrow, so happy Saturday. Hope yours is wonderful. I hope your Sunday is even more wonderful and that you make it to a church and that you get a word from the Holy Ghost, from the preacher. Seems like it's special just for you sometimes, doesn't it? When you go into a church and the preacher hits like points of your life like he knew you. You know, you've never ever been to this place in your life. I love that feeling. I'm slow this morning. I feel like I have to talk fast and spew constant information at you all the time in order to keep my point going or whatever, right? I get very fucking frustrated with some videos because they just talk and talk and talk about nothing at the start, like I'm doing right now. So let's jump right in. You guys, we talk about the age of the Earth. Just stick with that video from yesterday again. And people always say, the Earth's 5 billion years old. Okay. Well, after everything that I've just said, there's no science to back that up. That's purely religion. And if you're going to admit that that's your religious belief, I'm fine with that. Giver. But don't insist that it be taught to school kids, because there's no science behind it. It's your religion. Take it to a fucking church or whatever. Go build some fucking Holocaust building just for you. Right? But most of the world, free world, Canada and the US, most believe there was some kind of creator. And that's without ever listening to somebody like me or Dr. Hovid or whatever. So that's without a true foundation of knowledge. They just know it. Their soul knows God made them. You know that. That's the first thing you know when you're born. So knowing that, they say, okay, well, let's weave the two together. And Satan's fine with that, because you're never going to have faith in God when you're weaving lies and misrepresentations and all this stuff into God's word. And you can say that, this was fake and that was fake, and I'll pick this and I'll choose that. Then you can pick and choose anything you want. It's just humanism. You might as well just call yourself God and go masturbate about how great you are. Because, you're only pulling your own chain. Anyway, so, and then you think that all academia would need to be lying. No, they're not all lying. I know geologists. Well, my niece is a geologist. I argue with her about this stuff all the time, and it kind of hits home. But she's really highly indoctrinated, and I get this much of her time And the school system and the heliocentric religion gets this much of our time. You know, it's on TV, it's everywhere you see and look, it's in the schools, it's everywhere, right? So of course, what you put in front of a person, that's what they'll become. That's why they're doing this homosexuality, LGBTQ thing. It's to manipulate your mind, right? You're programmable. The human brain is remarkably, no, computers are very remarkably similar to the human brain, and they can both be programmed. Right? So you got to be careful about the word muse means to think. That's what it means. So when you put a in front of it, the prefix, it means not to. It means the opposite. It makes the word the opposite of what it was. So amuse is not thinking. Amusement is letting somebody else think for you, because they're doing the action. And you've taken away, with the A at the first, you're giving away the action. You're making it opposite. So if it was amusement, that would be you thinking. But amusement is them thinking for you. So you got to be careful where you get your amusement, where you get your thoughts from, because it's going to dictate how you act and react and all that stuff. Anyway, to think that academia can't be fooled is foolish. People can be fooled. Everybody can be programmed and brainwashed. And it's the ones who are most susceptible to brainwashing that do the best in school. Think about that sentence. Take a minute. That's the reason they did good in the school, was because they were so susceptible to the brainwashing. So they got promoted. And then you're told that how smart they are and blah, 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 all this stuff. Well, no. They're not. They prove that in their actions. In their decision making. They're not all that smart. Right? And then we have to say, oh, well, there's street smarts and book smarts. No. There's real smarts and brainwashing. And you guys are all so convinced that people can't be brainwashed or fooled that you think that when you hear the truth, you're like, oh, that's crazy. You're crazy. That crazy talk. But no, it's not. What's crazy talk is thinking that you can't fool the masses. We've proven it before. Hitler proved it, right? And as you look into that, you find out that actually Hitler didn't prove it. It was the Jews he was fighting that proved it. They could mass hypnotize all the people. Proved it like 3 times in history now that I can refer to. 4, technically. I don't know enough about Joseph Stalin, but what I do know is that he had a bunch of Jews backing him and helping him and advising him on his movements as he took over a country, and he used the people. He went into like secret societies and stuff, manipulated the people to manipulate other people to go down this road. And then when they got down that road, they were like, holy fuck, what did I do? And they started to use their voice to change things back or whatever. And he just shot them all. Right? Because he was fucking insane. Well, we don't just shoot them all today anymore. So far. You know, there's been a lot of suicide around the Clinton family. But, so, anyway, Useful idiots is what they were called. And then you could say that Hitler made the people of Germany of a certain mindset, and he got them all to be of that mindset. Now, it was made easy because of what had happened to the country in World War One. So all that Balfour Agreement and everything else, and then Poland, the Germans were being lynched in the streets and fucking, and it was known as the sin capital of the world. You could go there and like fuck goats and kids and women and men and whatever you wanted, right? It was just depravity. And what happened in Germany or Poland stayed in Poland or whatever. It was fucking disgusting. And then they started to like, the Germans didn't want that in their cities, but it wasn't their cities anymore because it was given over in the Balfour Agreement. So they started to like bitch, and then they started to get like lynched in the streets the same way, really close to the lynching of the Africans in America years later or whatever, which was another mass hypnosis of thinking that, huge one there, of thinking that first off, they took the Hebrews, the black people, and they took away their heritage, that they were even Hebrews, and then they convinced everybody that they don't even have a heritage, and then convinced everybody even further to give themselves the Hebrew heritage, even though they're the opposite of the Hebrews. They're the fucking Edomites. But it was such a fascinating brainwash to see. And then Hitler started killing Jews. Well, he first tried to get rid of them. He shipped a bunch of them out of the country. He was kicking them out and stuff, and they wouldn't fucking leave. And they got into these big arguments and fights, whatever. Anyways, nobody would take them at a certain point. No other country would accept them. And so then he starts killing them off. And just throwing them in prisons or whatever. And that got, who knows? I certainly don't. But there weren't 6 million Jews in Germany at the time. He didn't have access to them. So the whole thing stinks. It fucking reeks. Now, I'm sure there was death and there was murder and he was killing people, 100%. But I don't think it was the numbers, and I don't think it was quite as huge as we're led to believe. Not that it wasn't huge, like that was still fucked up. Like they were treating them like dogs. It went way too far. But I don't think it went as far as we're told. And the Jewish people at the time were the bad guys. They were. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They were promoting horrible fucking things in the societies that they were interacting with. And now they own Hollywood. They own NASA. It's the same guys. Right? And for you to think that they're not programming your mind is fucking stupid. It's foolish. That's what it is. It's foolish. It's naive, to put a more direct word on it, that we would understand better. Because foolish is a biblical word, but it doesn't mean the same, it doesn't hold the same impact that it back then to today or whatever. So you don't want God calling you a fool, because he's calling you naive. He's calling you naive. I will just leave it at that. It is worse, because you're naive on purpose. It's like a scoffer or whatever, where you're proud of your naivety, and you're unwilling to even acknowledge the other side. That's all programming, right? Like, if you can't even look at it objectively with an open mind because of your teaching, we're so right. It's a greater mental disorder than just being naive or just being foolish. To today's English, it's another step. So your scientific community can be fooled. They can be brainwashed. And then the ones who aren't, and there are some that aren't, and there are some that aren't who think small of you still. So they're not going to put their great grandchildren's future of being billionaires at risk to wake you up from your brainwashing. Same with the politicians, right? That's like the whole thing. That's the Rothschilds' big thing, is they'll come to you and say shit like, well, why do you care about them? Who are they? Your family is going to be set for generations, not just you and yours. Like, your great grandkids will say, wow, thank God we had Grampy. You know, why do you give a shit about all those people out there? They're just a bunch of fucking evolved monkey bugs. You're the greatest evolved monkey bug of them all. So why would you, right, give up all of this for that? And the most politicians turn, right? Well, same goes for a lot of geologists and scientists, biologists, doctors, lawyers, not lawyers, but you know what I'm saying, paleontologists, all that stuff. And then obviously those are the ones that aren't smart enough, that stay under the radar their whole career, because they've, like I said, it's the ones that are the most susceptible to the brainwashing that get promoted, right? And then so then you also have the ones who figure it out. And that's why, and I'm sure it's in all fields, that there's like a killing field. And it's like, what the how's there so many geologists all dying on the same beach or whatever? Like, it's just this weird fucking place, and it's like, what? That you'd never, and they just play it off nonchalant. Oh, it's just the worst beach in the world. No reason that doctors that aren't sent there die there. I don't know. Crazy, right? It's like they don't even have to go there, but somehow they die there. Or we throw them out of a plane and they land there. I don't know. I didn't think he needed a parachute. There's no such thing as gravity, he said. So we just threw him out of the plane to see if he could prove it. So there's a lot of that too. Like a lot of that too. And you'll hear them when they retire. They'll come out and say like, "Oh, I can say this now. I can say that now. Oh, I can say this now. My career won't be destroyed." That's the minor threat. We'll destroy your career, or make it. Red pill or blue, right? It's all simple. So academia can certainly be fooled. And then once you get a generation of teachers that are fooled, you can really push them. Tell them how smart and great they are and get these big chips on their shoulder and they'll just carry around like a fucking medal. You know, like Hulk Hogan carrying Elizabeth on his shoulder or whatever. Fucking, and then, the and then they will destroy people's minds for you. And they'll go out into the world and just fucking annihilate things, right? Because there's such a, well, we were watching them. They want to teach kindergarten kids about their sexual preferences and their fucking lack of gender or whatever. They're insane. And they don't see it as child predators. They see themselves as like martyrs for their cause or whatever. And it's like, well, no, you're child predators. You're no better than NAMBLA. But you probably support NAMBLA. If the truth was told, you're probably like, oh yeah, that is just a sexual preference, and maybe some little boys and girls like to be raped, sodomized in the ass. I think that'd be a good time for them. They do love it. You're fucked. But that just goes to show you how far this can go and how far it has gone. If you've got teachers teaching that to kids and proudly defending themselves about it, don't you think that all of academia is corrupt? If it's that corrupt in kindergarten, where it's totally paid for by the taxpayers too, by the way, don't you think these private institutions that are paid for by the corporations are probably way more corrupt? No, probably about it, dummy. Yes, they're way more corrupt. Like 100 times more corrupt. And that plague of what they're doing to this generation of kindergarten kids will become teachers someday. And that's their goal, right? Once they get that generation of teachers that are so fucked in the head, the next generation is going to be even worse. More deprived, more fucked up, right? So yes, academia is definitely infiltrated, definitely not settled. The arguments aren't settled. None of it, right? And actually, the things that are more to our side. The actual demonstratable, testable, repeatable science is all on our side. All the theory and unsubstantiated bullshit is on your side, their side. Heliocentricism, space, Star Wars, Star Trek, all that stuff. That's your side. If you watch any of that, that's your side. And I hate to say this to you, but NFL, football, fucking all that stuff, their side. So when you're watching that stuff, you're in sin. But obviously there's You'll never get all the leaven out. It's right in your cracks. It's right in your furniture. It's in your clothes. It's in your toothpaste. It's everywhere. You'll never get it all out. That's why it represents sin so well, because you can't get it all out. But being aware of it is just the first step. Once you get awareness, then you tend to stop caring so much about it. So once you know that the NFL said, we're an entertainment league like the WWE, and we can choose who wins and who loses if we want to. And we can rig games if we feel like it. So stay out of our business. That's what they said, right? Because people were wanting to investigate this, that, and the other. And they're like, well, no, we're an entertainment league. It's about Tom Brady being a miracle white guy. The miracle white man. Beat all the black guys in the football team. That's all fucking, like I say, chosen or whatever, right? You might as well be watching Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man again, fighting over Elizabeth or whatever, right? Like, it's all bullshit. It's all staged. They're buddies. Same as your politicians. They're all buddies. Same as your world leaders. They're all buddies. They all go to Davos. Look up Davos, and you can see them all there together. Putin and Kim Jong-il and George Bush and Justin Trudeau, and they all get together and they all hang out and they're all civil and they all like each other, get along, and they all come up with a plan, and then they all go and interact, and they enact their plan, and they do things in order to make the plan go forward. It's pretty simple. Anyway, I'm gonna let you all go. And I am going to work, I guess. It's a lovely Friday. The sky is blue, blue. Thank you, Heavenly Father. All right. Have a great day, you guys. God bless you.